Hi, everyone. I am so excited for you to hear my conversation with Erin Conlon. She is a former practicing attorney who has pivoted into leadership coaching, keynote speaking, and even a little surprise of how her practice is informed by her experience in stand-up comedy. We're just two coaches talking about how our lived experiences as professionals have informed our coaching practices and how we both hope for more possibilities in the world. We also get a little nerdy talking about flowers, plants, and there may be a tree metaphor or two within our conversation. So I hope you have a chance to sit back and listen. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to The Leader Journey, a series within the Rooted Leader podcast, a space for honest stories of transition, courage, and becoming. Here I sit down with folks I've met along my own journey who've stepped away from the structure of corporate life to explore something more meaningful on their own terms. These paths are rarely linear, often messy. My hope is that these conversations help you feel a little less alone, spark some reflection, and maybe even give you the nudge to trust your own journey, wherever it's taking you. Because your next chapter doesn't have to be certain to be worth beginning. Hi, I am so happy to have Erin Conlon with us today. Erin and I recently met as Chicago-based or Chicago area-based executive coaches for a program that we're working on, but she has a fabulous background. I can't wait for you to hear more. She's a non-practicing lawyer, an executive coach, and a keynote speaker. And there's a little bit of a twist that I can't wait to learn more about. So stay with us. Welcome, Erin. I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm so happy to be here. First of all, I just adore you. I feel like you are such a smart, beautiful, kind human being. And so spending time with you is always fun.
I think I share that same feeling of you. And when we met, I could feel it right away. And I just love your take on identity and the strength of what our journey gives us and we don't lose that. So let's dive in. How would you like to define your current state of your leader journey? Who are you?
I am an entrepreneur. I am a solo business owner. Like, I run my own business. It feels like it has a billion arms with
That's right.
speaking and coaching and facilitating. I like to think of myself as a leader of people.
Yeah, say more about that. What does that mean to you?
I'm
going to go coachy on the coach.
What does that mean? It means that, I don't know. My experience is that whether or not I intend to, people pay attention to what I say. Yeah. And so I believe that part of what's important for me is to be the kind of person that I would be proud of being 5 years from now, and to let who I'm being possibly give other people a way to become more themselves.
Yeah, because these paths, and that's the whole reason for this podcast, is to show people that not everybody has a linear career, that there are things that don't show up necessarily as transparent in LinkedIn and conversations. And that is part of the journey as well. Mm-hmm. What's your true passion besides leading people? What is, if you consider yourself just holistically as a person, what drives you?
Probably possibility and transformation are my two biggest drivers. It really, I notice a lot of times people talk about life as though things are the way they are. And it makes things feel so small. And the language I use for it is there's an isness to what life is. And the opportunity for things to be different feels so heavy and so impossible when we're stuck in the isness of our lives. Yeah. It is this way. My boss is this way. Work is this demanding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My husband does these things. He is inflexible, whatever. Not all husbands are like that. I know that.
You don't have a husband, but yes, I want to make sure that people know that you have done this on your own.
Yeah, I don't have a husband, so I don't have that specific complaint. But I think that I thrive and get so much joy from people saying, oh, wait, it could be a little different. It could be this way. And just that little window of possibility creates so much transformation, both as like a waterfall effect and as a broadcasting effect outwards. When people see that there's possibility for somebody else, they think that it's there for them too.
Yeah, no, I really love that. So tell us a little bit about what led you from shifting from being a practicing lawyer to this focus now.
When I was first a baby attorney, I worked for a plaintiff's class action firm. And I was like, I'm going to be like Elle Woods and I'm going to change the
Right.
world. And what I found was that the firm was very small. They didn't have a lot of development for new associates. I had no idea what I was doing. And they didn't have a lot of work. And so within a year and a half, almost 2 years, I got laid off. And I got laid off right at the beginning of the recession.
Right.
And maybe a year, I had an offer for shortly after I got laid off, and that offer got rescinded because of the economy.
Because of the economy, for sure.
And so for 2 years, I was un/underemployed. And I did things like join the Obama campaign. And that's when I started getting into comedy, because I was like sitting at home going, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but I want to bring joy. And
I love it. I want to bring joy. Okay, keep going.
And I took all these side quests on, and eventually I found a position at a large law firm that was not partner track. And that position was great for stability. It was great for me to get some professional experience. It was great for me to experience the roadblocks that come in corporate life when there's no intended path for you. And so it gave me all of this stuff to bump up against that also really met my internal drive and my need for growth and development.
Yes.
And by met it, I mean, it hit like a brick wall.
Yeah. I'm a growth mindset person in a fixed mindset world.
Or in a fixed mindset position. Whatever it was, like the role that I had at the place that I had it was not intended for growth. Which is what it was. And I started doing other stuff to see if I could grow in other ways. And so that's when I took my comedy away from just writing and did more performing. And I started doing stand-up comedy. And then that was great. But I also was like, I don't know if this is how I want to live. Because the path as a comedian or as a person who is a comedy writer, it's a tough path. It is a intense, competitive, and dirty nights kind of path. You have to spend time at bars and stuff. And by that time, I was like 35, and I was like, I just don't want to live this way. It's fine when you're in your 20s. It doesn't feel good in your 30s.
Right.
And then I had a breakup where I realized after the breakup, like I started doing all of these things to be happy.
Yeah.
I went to South Africa. I painted my whole condo. I learned how to do fine art drawing. I'm very bad. But like I started taking up all of these other pursuits in addition to comedy. I learned how to ride a motorcycle. I bought a motorcycle. I did all of this stuff. And I was sitting on my deck one day and I was like reflecting on the year and reflecting on why I still felt really sad and why I wasn't feeling better. And I had this moment where I was like, I will not like my life if I do not like how I'm spending 50 to 60 hours a week.
Yeah, I get that.
And so I looked at what was
like this moment, right?
Yeah, it was like one of those, oh, I'm never going to forget this moments.
Yeah.
And I thought about, okay, what really is important to me that's missing? And so much of what was important to me was like connection with other humans.
So you were at this point where it was almost like an epiphany for you.
Right? So I had this epiphany and I looked at what was missing. I looked at the piece that was missing for me. It was like personal connection and impact. I wasn't changing anything. I was just like paper pushing for multi-billion-dollar companies. And I felt so disconnected that what I realized was like, okay, what I do a lot of the time is have conversations with people about how they're feeling and about what's important to them. And so the choice for me was like therapy, become a therapist or become a coach. And what I loved about coaching was that it's future oriented and project based. And it's about becoming who you want to become more than it is about fixing who you think you should be.
When we met, you said that, and that really resonated with me. Is I hadn't always thought about it as future oriented, although it is. Therapy is more retrospective, and
Mm-hmm.
all there are pieces of our path that come into coaching. And it is about hope and possibility, which I think, especially now for me and others, is so important. And especially if we consider the way that jobs are changing, careers are changing, it really leaves people in a situation of what's happening. This is not what I thought would be happening, and I don't know what to do. And they really do feel alone. So couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's the isness, right? Everything is happening
Right.
to them. There's very little power about it.
It takes back that agency. Yeah. Of, hey, I'm going to be in control of what I want to do. I love that. Okay. So you talked a little bit about, I'm looking at my notes over here. You talked a little bit about when you started to realize it was no longer suited for you. So when you decided to shift away from the practicing lawyer piece to the moving towards coaching, and you said it was not just about not enjoying what you're doing and growing, but it was that you didn't have a chance to make an impact. Were there anything that was incongruent with your values other than those things?
It was more that it was just so far away from who I wanted to be. I'm closer to my values now than I was then,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a misalignment. It was just like we're 10 million miles away from where I want to be and
Where
what's
you want to
important to
be.
me.
You knew it. You just knew enough. You were self-aware enough to know that wasn't who you wanted to be. Okay, I love that. So tell me a little bit about now. So we talked a little bit about like there's multiple things. It's like a portfolio career, which is not so common for folks, but it's hard and it's exciting. So tell me your experience with it. You do a lot of great things.
It's hard and it's exciting, right? Well, if my values are possibility, courage, impact, then a lot of what I do actually makes a lot of sense through that lens because I want to be able to impact as many people as possible. I want to bring courage and possibility to as many people as possible. I know that work isn't just or continued through a one off speech, but I also know that you have to have an entryway like a workshop or a speech or just that little moment where you're sitting on your deck and you go, wait a second. And so a lot of what I do now is for that, to do more of that elsewhere, to be with more people in a cost effective way for them.
Yeah.
And also to plant as many seeds in the world as I can without
Yeah.
needing to be the one that sees them all to fruition.
I love that. Yeah, because the plant the seed is some people don't even know this is an option. Do you believe that? I think so.
Some people don't know anything is an option.
Yes, I know, right? I think there is this commitment. You went to law school. You must now then be a lawyer your whole life. But you said that's not true. I can still use all of that knowledge, my experiences to inform what I'm doing now. So tell me how you use that in a keynote speaking way.
Well, hopefully my writing and my speaking of my speech is a cogent argument.
Yeah. Oh,
Hopefully I am making the kind of argument that is convincing and that is emotionally moving. That's
yeah.
one way that I think that I use it. The other way I think that I use it is with precision. I am pretty precise with my language on purpose,
Yeah.
not because I am pedantic and I want to be right, but because if I'm caring about the impact that I have, then I don't want to be unintentional with it
For
and
sure.
loose with it. But also, there's the lawyers love lawyers. And they also need to see that they don't have to be who they are.
Yeah.
And so I use a lot of my identity as an attorney as a point of connection.
Yeah.
It's like, I
Absolutely.
get you. I get you. You don't have to explain or prove to me that what you're doing is hard and that there are real barriers.
Right.
And I think that point of connection really matters.
I absolutely agree. And I find that my own journey as a leader in a complex, regulated pharma world helps others connect with me and connect with them and understand their issues at a deeper level. And so I love the fact that lawyers have an opportunity to work with someone who get their space. And is a lawyer then your ideal client? And tell me more a little bit about what that ideal client might be.
So, no,
Wow.
not all lawyers are my ideal clients.
Yes. Love that. Yeah.
It's not being a lawyer that makes you my ideal client. It's being somebody who knows that there's more and doesn't know how to get there.
So it's not exclusively that lane, and that's just one that informs your practice.
And I work with a lot of lawyers, and what happens with the people I work with that are attorneys is that there's this identity of being a lawyer that, oh, I will become a partner and this is what my life will look like, and I will have these billable hours, or if depending on the kind of practice, I will win cases, or I will be a DA. And that piece of their identity is so fixed that a lot of people are okay with it. But then the people who are my ideal clients are the people who, in the back of their mind, think that there's more out there and they just don't know how to be who they are today and become who they want to become.
Yeah, no, especially when you're surrounded by others who don't think that way, it's really hard to believe there's a possibility.
Well, and a lot of law firms put on the train that is, and keeping the train moving is more important than expanding the map.
I would say the same can be true in pharma and biotech as well, especially mid to large, is we have goals to meet, we have earnings to shareholders to satisfy, and that's fine for folks until a certain point, and then some say, I want more. So I love what you're saying, and it resonates. So who's been your biggest inspiration?
I will say is when I was in 4th grade, my dad was the director of pharmacy at a hospital in Ann Arbor, and he hit a similar kind of wall as me. And he decided to go to law school. So when I was very young, my dad went to law school with 4 children, 4 nights a week for 4 years. And my poor mother had basically became a single mom. But what that taught me at the time was this little, just because it is this way today does not mean it has to be this way tomorrow. And it taught me that you can start something with one intention and end with a different result. And
I love that so much.
that different result might actually be better than the original intention.
And that might be, if you want to be a little woo-woo about it, it might actually have been the path. Yeah. I sometimes like to get woo-woo. I like to think that there's a greater reason.
There's always I'm woo. There's always like forces in the universe just kind of going, hey.
Yeah. They're like, we need you over here with what you know. Okay, so great. So you saw such a great role model in your dad and your mom, both resilient, both saying, if we're going to do this together with the kids, we're going to make it. I think that's important to have, to see that as a model.
And you asked who's my greatest inspiration. I don't really want to become anybody else. I just want to become my best me. Yeah. And that sounds so egocentric, but I gather inspiration from everywhere, I guess is what I'm trying.
I need to rephrase the question, because I would say most of my guests say, I don't really have one. And so it is informed by many different things. And I think the intent is, who inspires you to become who you want to be? And maybe that's the better question. Yeah, because it does come from so many places. If I reflect on it myself, I could think the same. There might be a few people that maybe think it's possible, but then I got other things along the way. So,
and there was a point where the thought of being a Supreme Court justice was inspiring, or the thought of being an assistant U.S. attorney was inspiring, or the thought of being a fiction writer was inspiring. All of those things, or a stand-up comic was inspiring to me. All of that is inspiring to me. And I feel like I'm a wisdom gatherer and a side quest person.
Love that about that. I love that about you too. Okay. What advice would you give to others, that your younger self or others who might be in a very structured career, but not feeling it?
Oh God, just First of all, I have so much heart for you. Be a little bit nicer to yourself. I think when you're young and you're in a really rigid structure, what people end up doing is bouncing off the walls, trying to fit in.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I think some self-compassion for like just acknowledging your experience of what it's like trying to fit in, what it's like trying to meet other people's expectations and realizing those expectations don't fit you. I would offer like a practice of self-compassion. Real advice that I would offer people is find a way to break up this idea that you think things have to be a certain way.
Yeah, I love that.
But find ways to tell yourself a different story.
Yeah. Why do you have this vision of this ideal self? What's it about? And is it really ideal for you? Yeah.
Mhm.
Love that. What's the best part of this shift that you made for you?
Independence, freedom,
Freedom's always been a big
authenticity.
authenticity. Yeah.
I don't,
Creativity. Jen, you sound super creative.
what I think is the best is, I don't know about you in your transition, but what I've noticed is that I'm so less worried about becoming or being who other people want me to be. I'm so much more focused on being a person of service, which is different. Like
Yeah. We talked about this. How many years ago did you pivot?
eight and a half.
Okay. And I think you said 4 years was the magic number.
It does. It took me about 4 years to get really stable in this. And I trained coaches too for a while. Part of my training was the kind of like the master's level education where you go become a TA, that kind of stuff. And what I'd noticed is so many people graduate from a coaching program or from any kind of training program, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go be this person. And they don't give themselves space to struggle to become the next level of that person.
Oh my gosh, that is so wise, Erin.
So, yeah.
Yes, I absolutely agree with all of those things. I would say that I'm in year 4 and I'm starting to now align with the service piece. It was such an identity redo for me after 30 years of pleasing and achieving and meeting expectations. To unwire that was really hard for me, but I can see it evolving. And so I love what you just said there.
Yeah. Oh, God, that maybe one way to think about it is like college is 4 years for a reason. That's
Yeah.
4 years for a reason. I don't actually know why, but maybe part of change is that it takes a while to learn things, to grow your learning, to get depth and breadth, and then to implement it.
Because we have to iterate. We talked about this as well. There's a lot of iteration, exploration, experimenting, failing. I failed at things that I've just said that didn't work for me. I'm going to do something again or do something differently. And yeah, but it's all good. I can accept it now and say, if I hadn't tried, I'd be really upset with myself. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such good advice. What do you need to try to not hate yourself?
Yeah. Did that ever cross your mind? Did
All
you
the
feel?
time.
Yes.
All the time. I think now that you say that, I'm like, oh, that was when I was younger, a very important driver for doing comedy, for trying these new things, was I did not want to be a person who said, what if, or I wonder, or who didn't live up to her word.
Yeah. I saw a few people in my life, along my life, that would always have an excuse for everything. And that really hit me even at a young age, that I didn't want that to be me. And
Me
honestly,
too.
I want my children, I have adult children, I want them to see a little bit of struggle, but to end up where they want to be rather than where they think they need to be.
Isn't it funny how perfectionist culture gives you this narrative that struggle isn't part of the process, that you're just supposed to get there? And struggle is what makes things better. Struggle is what makes things stronger. Trees get stronger because the wind blows. Roots get deeper because the wind blows. Like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. Oh, I love that so much. Okay, that's absolutely going to be a clip. But it's true. Like, why do we feel like struggle can't be shared? That struggle is something to have some shame about rather than it's actually made me stronger. And now I can continue to grow and find new
Well,
things to learn. And yeah, go ahead.
not to beat the tree metaphor down, but like it is part of the environment. It is
Yeah.
not always something that you choose. Sometimes it's just part of like the world that we live in.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Now, we could absolutely talk tree metaphors for a long time because I love trees. Well, what brings you joy? Did I ask that? No, I said, I think I asked what the best part of your pivot. Okay, I'm going to ask it then. What brings you joy right now?
A good flower.
Oh, what's your
Yes.
favorite?
I have a whole wall of roses. I live in the city and I live in one of the few neighborhoods where we have front yards. And so we have fences. And I put a bunch of rose bushes along our fence, partly as a security measure, but partly because I was like, what else is going to be there?
You're beautiful,
And
right?
maybe 3 of my 5 or 6 rose bushes, one of them is 5 feet wide, 8 feet tall.
I love flowers and vegetables and gardening just in general. And that's why I named my company. The reason I did is because people grow, plants grow. We all have to adjust to the environment, as you said. Oh, love it. And just the process of watching them.
Yeah, and it's iterative. What I love about gardening is that it is not just a here's where you are today and tomorrow will be different. You have to feed it along the way. You have to meet needs. If there's not enough water, you have to water the plant.
Yeah, you have to really pay attention and nurture it. Yeah, I love it. Like we should nurture ourselves, like you said earlier. Self-compassion, the nurturing is so important. And we rarely take a pause.
I don't want to make it sound like I don't hold my clients accountable to goals and that if they I've been thinking a lot about this.
No.
I am much more soft. I don't know how you feel. I am much more soft in how the change happens. And I am much more hard in that the change happens.
Yes, I also agree. Like the clients that come to me, the self-awareness is almost the goal because oftentimes I don't think they see the strength or the beauty or the possibility within themselves. So I'm with you. I think that's part of the plan. We have general goals, but yeah, most of my clients are just seeking that. I'm trying to figure out what this transition means to my identity. Who am I? Not that I can't get my shit together and I've got to learn how to manage my time better and do this X, Y, and Z. That's rarely the client I have. Although if I do, I can do that.
Maybe it's a level thing, maybe it's a maturity thing, but in my experience, the system of getting your life perfect is never going to be the thing that gets you to where you want to be. It's never about the methodology or the perfect tool. It's about your willingness to do it and the like internal commitment that comes along with it.
Yeah. I'm studying motivation right now. And yeah, how do we find that intrinsic motivation versus that motivation that we think is internal, but it's really external? That's what we have to be to show others we're good enough.
What do what are you finding in studying motivation? What are you learning?
I've just started. I'm diving deeper into organizational psychology. And so we learn a lot about theory, and I'm a dork, so I love theory. But I was really shocked, though, that the extrinsic motivation includes those pieces where we think we need to be a certain level. But it makes sense that it's extrinsic, but I never thought of it that way. I really thought that's an internal drive, but we're still trying to prove something to somebody else, an external factor. So I think, stay tuned, I'll share more. But yeah, that was an aha for me. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, but I never thought about it that way.
That kind of extrinsic motivation, trying to become the role that already exists, is so inauthentic.
Yeah.
It's
No, I just say it works for some people, but it was just after, yeah, I think after a while, it no longer served me. And I can see that in many, and actually, even in the research, it says that many people come upon this time where our career goals and identity naturally shift to something different.
it works to a point, I think is probably a better way of saying it. At some point you bankrupt it.
Yeah. Okay. Love this so much. I could talk to you forever. Okay. Okay, what do you do that nurtures you?
Oh, that's such a great question. To nurture myself lately, and I really need to get better at that. And I say this as a, hey, everyone does this thing where we are very good at nurturing ourselves and then we don't because we get focused on the prize or life gets in the way. But one thing that is really nurturing to me is water. So swimming
Oh yeah.
is incredibly
What is
nurturing.
hard?
And I also just being outside in nature.
I'm with you.
I live right by Lake Michigan. I consider that nature, even though it's the city. So
It's over nature. What do you mean? Yeah, of course.
yeah, those are things that
Yeah,
nurture me.
I'm right with you. And I can imagine because one of the hardest things for me with swimming is the breath work. So that must be meditative as well.
Oh, it's so meditative. You do the meditation, you do the physical activity, and then you also like there's Chicago has free pools.
Really?
You didn't know this? All
Yeah.
of the city pools are free.
I love that. And I'm glad that is the way that you recharge. Okay. Anything else that you wanted to share before we jump into the lightning round question?
Just that I really like being with you and I could talk to you for forever and I want to have an unstructured conversation with you too.
I'd like that too. Yeah, it would be great because I just think we both have that same energy. And that I think you just nailed it though. The possibilities, I think was a word I really needed. Last year I read a book called The Art of Possibility, now that I remember. It's an old book, but I really enjoyed it. And I listened on audio and it has a lot of classical music in it too. So it's one for folks if they're interested in having a little bit of a reset in their mind, which I needed. Okay. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Okay. I love it. Most people go, can I say both? I'm like, yeah, you could, but beach.
I mean, I would say both, which is Hawaii, but
Yes. Okay. Love that. What's your favorite go-to beverage in the morning?
in the morning, coffee.
And how do you prefer it?
Oh, I want cream and sugar in my coffee.
Okay. I love that. Okay. Okay. I'm a dork now and I go with the scoop of college. Okay. What's your non-negotiable for you right now?
Oh, everything is non. Right now, for me, physically a non-negotiable is sleep.
Yeah.
Emotionally, a non-negotiable is understanding.
It's lightning round, or I would go deeper there. Okay. What do you do for fun?
I walk my dog a lot.
Ooh, what's your dog's name?
Her name is Zelda. She is a Pit Pyrenees lab mix. I do a lot of walking my dog and swimming and listening to audiobooks.
Okay, that's the perfect next question. Is there a book or podcast that is inspiring you right now?
Can I tell you about a book that left me rocked, which I think
Yeah.
is the marker of good writing and good storytelling, but
Okay.
it didn't feel good.
Oh. Okay, but yes.
It's called A Good Person by
Okay.
Kirsten King, and it is a fiction book of a personal narrative, first person narrative, a girl who breaks up with her recent boyfriend and puts a hex on him, and then he dies.
Oh no. Okay, you're smiling. But you liked how it was written.
I thought it was very well written. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a happy book. It left me feeling unsettled.
And that's okay. You don't mind that.
I don't mind it because for me, unsettled isn't a good or a bad thing, but it does give me places to think and to question.
Oh my gosh. I really enjoy that. I will tell you, so my kids, I have adult kids. As a mom of adult kids, there are certain things I can't get rocked by anymore because I will turn them into worry. But I get that. I get that why. It leaves you questioning.
It's about who we are and who we think we are.
Well, I love that. Who we are and who we think we are. I think those are always good things for us to question because, like you said, we evolve always.
Mhm.
Okay. Complete the sentence. Now my work feels blank.
Now my work feels satisfying. I just want more of it.
Yes. Yes. I get that and I get that.
Like it feels
Yeah.
like an appetizer and I want it to be a constant entree or a buffet.
Okay, so if we talked about who your ideal client is, so that's here. Is there a request to be a keynote speaker at certain types of events? Any sort of event you'd like to be connected with?
I would love to speak at leadership conferences I speak about using failure as a way to cultivate courage. Your relationship with failure for you as a way to be brave. So I think leadership conferences are a really good place for that. Marketing wise, like this is why I'm bad at strategy because I'm like,
But I get it. And I feel similarly about marketing. That's not my jam. First of all, I'm a scientist. Secondly, is I want people to connect with me first. And if that resonates with them and they have a need, then yes. And that's what you're saying is you want to be in places where you have the opportunity to have people think about where they are, what they want to be. And if it resonates for them to work with you, fantastic.
great.
Okay. We're going to put that out in the universe. And I'm just so thankful for your time today. So thanks, Erin. I'm so glad that we met.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe you're just such a delight. And I hope that your audience feels a sense of possibility just because we talked about it today.
Me too.
Well, thank you, Erin. It was so great to have such a great conversation. We could have gone on for at least another hour. It was just important to hear about the possibilities and in understanding ourselves a little bit more, open up to the potential beyond our job title. I hope you might be considering what might be possible for you next. I will definitely put her LinkedIn information in the podcast show notes, as well as a link to the book she mentioned. So thanks again for joining us. Here's hoping that you lead with authenticity, empathy, and curiosity, and a little bit of self-compassion. Thanks so much. Please feel free to follow the Rooted Leader podcast, including the Leader Journeys, wherever you listen to your podcast series. And have a great day.